I'm using a prop, so I make my videos look a little different, but my setup is the same, as you guys know. I'm tracking my blessings here because it's hardcore. On day 55, no food. I'm making this video in the morning just because I have energy. I just had a very passionate conversation with one of my main dudes who's gonna abandon me, it looks like, because we're in the throes of dialectic here on day 389 of the perpetual grade 11 hunger strike. I've had 11 hunger strikes before this, as you guys know, and I go on stints where we get to make these blessings, which is really leadership training in art, religion, philosophy, science, and what I call universal logic or genuine wisdom. Okay. Oh, my heart's pounding. It's day 55 is no joke. No food, just water. Oh, wow. So if you want to hear this conversation, we're recording them on YouTube. I record 24/7, so you know I'm not actually eating. You can watch me. I'm not joking. I care about you. Your life is precious. It is sacred, okay? I'm doing this because we are in a mega crisis, which has a meta crisis and a poly crisis, as you know. So we'll talk about the core here in a minute, but how am I doing personally? I like to start these videos off that way, especially since it's been about 4 days since I made one of these videos. Because it has been busy. Progress, you guys. It's happening. Let me take a breath for a second. You can see in this conversation with this guy, you can see the dialectical reversals. You can see him becoming the thing he doesn't like and trying to turn me into it because he's not aware of how universal logic works. He's not holding that seed of compassion in a true way, in a genuinely reasonable way. Okay, there's a lot I want to tell you. How am I doing personally? My head hurts. I went to bed late. The hunger makes you kind of like it's a survival instinct. It's millions of years old. Your body taps into things that are millions of years old. If your body's not filled with toxins and plastics and trans fats and toxic water and constant anxiety and eroded memory, if it's actually what your body was for millions of years, it taps into these survival instincts, and you are built to survive ice ages. And this is proved 55 days, and I'm still sitting up, you guys. It turns out that my initial hunger strikes might have been because I was being poisoned by some of my drains here. I don't know. But something was really draining me in the beginning. Or I'm just building a lot of stamina because it's been hundreds of days now with no food. I think I've missed 1,000 meals this year, I think. We can actually go back and calculate it, but it's a price worth paying. But it is getting serious. I need your help. We are entering the final stages here. The singularities beginning with AI, all these things. Me personally, though, I had it out with my family a little bit publicly, aired some public laundry, and it gave me a chance to vindicate myself, which is kind of good. Because it shows the reason and ability of my extreme actions, that in proportion to the extremeness of the crisis, it's actually more rational what I'm doing. The context is what wisdom uses to determine what is the right interpretation of things. The wise one, based on the true nature of things, which requires universal logic. Okay? We're 4 minutes into this video and I feel like I haven't said the main pieces. All right, so I'm hungry. I want to eat soon. And we're building. It's unsettling that my long-term supporter, he gave thousands of dollars, this beautiful man. His identity is beautiful. I hope he comes back soon. His behavior is really backwards and very dangerous, actually. And he's saying that about me. Dialectic always projects back and forth. You got to hold the seed of compassion for them. So what has happened here is he tried to bring a culty dynamic with him that he's unaware of. And because I built the movement and anti-cult training, he didn't make it through. The system worked. The sacred time, the vow of abandonment, all these types of things that I put in place in the 2 sacred sentences in the core that we repeated are working. And these are very sophisticated people that aren't aware that that's how these high IQ smart people get sucked into cults in the first place, is because they don't know how reason works. They don't even know how to define science really properly, not in its core. That's called the philosophy of science. It's called the demarcation problem of science. That science itself doesn't know if it's scientific. It just asserts its principles as too basic to be derivable. But you can derive absolute simplicity. But you have to do it in a sort of paradoxical kind of Zen science, where it's not mysticism in the superstitious sense. It's grounded in recognizing that the world runs by contradictions in the right way. Right? The context makes contradictions external and bad, or in the internal way, scientific, truthful, natural, persisting, godly. Doesn't matter which mode of consciousness you speak about. It's all the same universal logic now. It's all super coherent. All the fragments between religion and science and art and philosophy, they're all healed now. But you got to see that the contradiction that separates them is the contradiction that unites them as moments of each other. That's how you overcome dualism in a concrete way, and not the abstract way that creates the dualism in your beingness, while you in your thinkingness are, doing your meditations and thinking that you're being a beautiful soul, but you're actually being a hypocrite. All right? This is the logic behind what all the Buddhist masters, the Hindu masters, the Christian mystics, the Jewish, the wise parts of the Torah and the Kabbalah, Islam, all these great divine sources do that. But also science does it too, because that's why science looks like it contradicts itself, right? General relativity, quantum field theory, big and small, that's just a dialectic. Or between quality and quantity, what we call complexity theory today in emergence, or chaos theory in terms of things changing suddenly. Those are all just dialectic, if you think about them right. Okay. I gotta send these emails out, but I really want to get this out, and I'm personally, this guy's become a good friend to me. He still is, but he's saying, I gotta cut these off. He thinks I'm the bad one. I'm the authoritarian and all these. And I called him out today for not even bringing notes. We agreed to take notes, or at least I told him I was taking notes and I would like him to take notes, or else I wouldn't continue in the same kind of dialogue that he wanted to have. And he didn't bring his notes. And then he just repeated himself in what we call the bad infinite again. All the points that I addressed. And I called him out, and I was thinking about the poor, how the poor are hungry like me right now. And he's just complacent, he's comfortable in his wealthy car, in his wealthy lifestyle, spending $5,000-$10,000 on these trips to learn Stoicism, which is one moment of 200 that he won't get out of because he's egoic. And it's an essential moment. Stoicism is beautiful. It's just gotta grow. Oh boy. So I'm hurt by that on the friendship life area. There's 11 life areas that you're allowed to talk about in Fair World Spirit. So that's one of them. I started looking up gourmet recipes because we're planning this free buffet as well, which is super exciting. My birthday went very well, as you guys saw. So there's a lot of interest. They're saying, are you doing it again? The restaurant, I might, there's something spiritually a little bit off at the restaurant, which I'm getting this feeling I should call out. I'm going to make an announcement that the buffet is going to happen, and here's why it's going to happen without, like, it's going to happen with their help, but we're going to make the buffet menu, the 19 meals that I've cooked on the Cooking with Marco Messiah, to do gourmet vegan cooking. And, you know, I've cooked quite around the world now, Nigeria and Spain and France and India and Nepal and Pakistan and Peru now and Mexico, you know, all over the place, Japan. I was going to do China or Russia next. So anyway, it's a really eclectic menu. Israel, Palestine, you know, Morocco. It was engaging. So I thought, wow, this could be awesome. We could honor hunger striking, civil rights, but also feed people. And an actual unlimited buffet. I think we could cook the meals, from what I've learned, not for $30 a plate. I think Padmanabhis is saying they're making hardly any margin on their plates. And I'm like, how are you not making like rice, saffron? It's the time you put into the dishes is what I found. So if we had a whole bunch of chefs and volunteers to put the time into the food, then we could probably reduce the cost of $1 to $5 a plate. And then people could actually have unlimited resources if we bought in bulk for 500 people and start building community and the wise government or God's government, whatever you want to call it. Once you have universal logic, you know God's being, the labels we put on it are kind of unessential until you know the absolute definitions. So I know how to recognize when people are using their labels in a godly way, whether they're atheists or theist. Like even when atheists are being scientific, I can tell which ones are being godly scientific and which ones aren't, or real objective. If you don't like using that word godly, they're being really objective in terms of reality, the truth. So the buffet is exciting me. So food is a empirical universal. That's what we call it, universal logic. It means in the world of time and space, the thing that unites us all is like we all understand what hunger feels. That's one of the most basic ones, not the only. Universal logic is in timeless spacelessness. Okay, those are the universal universals. The empirical universals are sort of like the particular universals here in this world with us. Okay, and the transcendental world is not way out there beyond. We'll never reach it. To authoritarian, the Lord, you know, all these. The secular world is afraid of that because reason is empowering because you can know God, right? And they say, well, you know, they're like, screw religion, we'll just watch nature, and nature has the truth. Even though religious individuals will say, well, God put that there, so you're just learning God. And that's technically true, right? They're just doing it in a fragmented way, but they're doing it in the right form, which is why they're gaining more power, which is why we're launching AI like Cloud Mythos, which is being banned in power struggles because it's getting it crazy. Oh, it's getting intense out there. So my personal update here, I'm still doing my personal update, but it's getting into the core now, is doesn't matter which label we use, God, objective science, whatnot. Oh, now I lost it because I was thinking about Cloud Mythos. It's extreme. Okay, well, maybe they'll come back to me. Like my chest is burning. There's a lot of things happening in my mind right now. Oh, the buffet is the empirical universal. Okay, so we'll have the empirical going because people who are stuck in desperation can't think about the universe. They can't get out of the material world because they're desperate, right? So that's why the hunger strikes are powerful, is because it doesn't pull you down. And for a second, it was starting, right? It's a distraction in a certain way. But when you develop the universal, you can pull back on it a little bit. Doesn't mean people should starve. That's injustice. But you should have discipline. So we have both sides now. We got the super sensuous universal. The universal is the pure universal logic, pure science, God's being. And then we have this empirical universal because it worked, right? I've done sort of like kind of free food kind of stuff before, but this worked as vegan. It was delicious. You know, we had 140 people come in 3 hours. It overwhelmed Pabanati's. It wasn't a real buffet. They ran out of food. And they told me that. That's because they're honest people. So we're not going to destroy this beautiful little restaurant. They should give a discount. Like, there's something that's lacking spiritual integrity. You don't just say that we didn't actually give you the service you paid for. You know, they were dancing with me. I was dancing with them. They didn't expect me to bring so many people. That's what it was. They're unprepared. And I told them to prepare for God's coming. Because God's here, right? I've been viral 4 times. And everybody just keeps underestimating me. And it's just like, dead spirit just keeps truncating. I warned her. I said, this is going to turn into something that could raise you $1 million by tomorrow if you do the right things. You keep the spirit open. And they didn't. So I want to call that out, but I want to do it in a beautiful way that promotes the buffet. And say, this time when you come, you will get unlimited actual refills. And the reason why it was kind of sad and it was an injustice wasn't because it sucked. It was because it was too successful. Right? So you turn into a sublation, but we're not naive, right? Wise love, not blind love. It's been 16 minutes already. I'm still doing my personal update. We're kind of moving into the core a little here. So the core, I just want to say it again because it's been a few days. The core is easy to learn here. And I'm about to teach it to like, we messaged 100, we had 1,000 people to message here to get these meals done in like this week. I am hungry. I have to eat in the next 2 to 3 weeks or else I'm getting close to death here. I'm doing amazingly well, but it's because I have these heat bottles. And as you guys know, like I have my setup, right? I'm just showing you the extreme level, like how many lessons I've learned, right? From doing so many of these. This is full of hot water right now. On this side of my kidneys is my other hot water bottle. What the heck? Oh well. Somewhere around here. And I got one on my lap. So I think all these little tricks here not moving is really helping me a lot. Whereas a lot of these guys that are smokers and when they do this, they go to jail. It's not the same. So let's do the core quickly so we stay focused on the vision so you know what you're getting yourself into. If you want to join with me. I had a couple of people on my YouTube, my TikTok wanting to help me. That was great. I paid attention to it for the first time. I have like 10 of these flares which cause TikTok to promote you. So I'm gonna, if I start getting desperate, I'm gonna use those and pump this up. But I think the buffet will get people coming in on the central side, and the Universal Logic will work with the recruitment that we have online, with the structure of the meetings, which are, they're turning into something amazing. I've been coding straight. I got some donations to get these super AIs. I even got to use Claude Mythos. They released it to the public here, but you know, Fable 5, and now it's banned. And it was powerful. It just burned through my tokens too fast. So what is it? 18 minutes in. So let's do it. The core of Fair World Spirit is time compression through clarity on ego wisdom. The problem being the mega crisis, the solution being the 2 sacred sentences, and the implementation being the flow, rolls, and flocks. I know that my fingernails are not cut. I'm down here with the poor. I'm intentionally looking like I'm down here because it takes a lot of effort to keep up appearances. I'd rather put that energy towards the strategy because we're running out of time. Even though it's on divine time, that divine time involves us in spirit, right? Okay, so we're going to go back and define, where do we leave off? We defined time compression, we defined ego wisdom, we defined mega crisis, we defined the empowerment sentence as our anti-cult training. I'm so happy it worked. If you watch the recordings, you can see it's really tricky. It's like really, when you're in dialectic, it's really messed. There's like some movies. There's like a movie called IP Man or something like that. It's like a Chinese like fight film thing. But the end premise of it is very smart, where the bad guy is always like a reflection of the good guy. And same with the Matrix, it's like that too, with Smith and Neo. That's the kind of dialectic moments of each other. And the only way out is through in the end, right? If you keep resisting, you're doing something called the abstract negation. It conditions you. And then when you realize the genuine infinite that they're already in you, you become moments of each other, and then you realize the true solution. Not that you become evil or terrible, but that you realize it's a limit that is creating evil out of ignorance. And once you transcend that as a definition of yourself, in terms of throwing out the abstractness and getting into what the truth of that conditioning is, then you bring it to its true universal and transcend the tension. and integrate in a flow state. Okay, so did we do the content sentence? I should have. I looked at the video right before this. I could go on TikTok. So what we'll do while I'm looking this up is, in terms of the core world news, it looks like Donald Trump is signing a peace deal with Iran. We'll see how long that lasts, but it sounds like he's moving on to his next strategic piece. He planted some pieces there. He's probably made Iran agree to some concessions that restrict China, because he's preparing to take on China. If you pay attention to what he's trying to do, he's usually 4 or 5 steps ahead of other people. That's how he's able to stay in power, despite his rhetoric not being very sublative and all this. So don't underestimate people that way. That's your own ego. You point out their limit, and then you look for the goodness in them. You separate the behavior from the inherent worth. And my friend didn't do that to me today. 21 minutes. Okay, it might be enough just to say the core. Let me know in the comments which one do you want me to unpack some more. And I'm willing to teach what I know on these things to those who are starting to become passionate. We're over 600 followers. We got more followers on YouTube, so it's starting to pick up, because people, including my family, are starting to realize this is real. It's only just beginning. Like, Claude Mythos is restricted right now. But there's another model, ChatGPT 5.5, that they're not restricting, because there's a power politics going on, because Dario Moda is representing the world that we need. So we need to support that, because the other mode is the power politics. It's the unadjusted Pareto categories, we call them. Right? That's called sensuous power, external power. There's good power, and there's inner power and outer power, right? Like, everything's good and bad. That outer power is draconian. It's a prisoner's dilemma. It creates prisoner's dilemma, race to the bottom, leaves the poor behind. Dario is trying to represent this universal, but because he's in the United States, Trump is trying to restrict, because he's using the powerful to build up the United States to take on China. My mouth is very jockey now. So it's not really a good sign. If ChatGPT gets on top of us with Sam Altman, who's embracing he's not adjusting for, it'd be fine if we were adjusting for Pareto categories, right? Facial beauty, social wealth, cultureness, body beauty, and IQ. But that's not wisdom. That's not UQ. It's external power that can be used without wisdom. We need the inner. And Dario's trying to approximate that, but he's got to move fast. You got to be, when you're with that power, you got to move quick. Which is why these meetings that I'm building have roughly 70,000 hours of leadership training and 252 features in the software. And then I filed a 200-page patent application. It's incredible. So that's all in there, and I'm going to give it to you for the price of doing these blessings as checklists of leadership training. Well, you don't have to call it blessings. In art, religion, philosophy, science, and universal logic, okay? World-class training. But because it's immersive, it's like a game. You learn it just by being in the meetings and sharing who you are, right? And protecting you from cult leaders, and teaching what cults are and what the core of them is. So you have very clear discernment on what the essential, the essence, and the true difference between a culture, a healthy one, a high performance one, and a cult. And these really high IQ people spin people in circles. It's sophism. And so if you get caught up in that web, it's really hard to get out. I want to protect you from that, but you have to be clear on what the root distinctions are, so you know how to determine the context of which one you're in. All right? That's why I teach the empowerment sentence in anti-cult training right away. Okay? So you come in with that protection and be who you are and start flowing. And it's hard to do this on day 55. I know I'm kind of making it look easy, but it's the morning, right? This is where I have my most energy. It's the passion, it's the love, it's the flow state. 10 out of 10 spiritual is my inner state, even though I feel like a 3.8 out of 10 physically. That's the power of meaning and love. Okay, you can have it too. If you're dead in your job, everything will feel like a mountain, right? But when you have this other motivation, it's empowering, and gives you superhuman strength and endurance. That's why mothers can lift cars off their children, you know, when they're afraid their child is in trouble. Okay, it's almost half an hour again, so in the video. Speaking of that, the wifey update, my wife will be like that, picking cars up off of people. She's passionate, right? You know my wifey slogan? I haven't said it in 4 days, but if she's too hardcore wise for everybody else, she's just right for who? Who do you know? This guy. She's just right for me. And it's about finding your match. There's an alarm going off upstairs. That's interesting. Is that a sign? Is that an alarm that, oh, wife is coming? Keep it up. Spread the word. And if you come to our meetings, we do the same for you. We try and take care of all your life areas, okay? I keep saying that, but it's true. And we have 100, we're trying to get 108 people in this meeting. We would have met it at the birthday, but it was suppressed, right, by that dead spirit. So this time, though, I have people confirming right now. We have to message 1,000 people, so that's what I'm going to do after this. Keep the coding. I'm coding and messaging, and I got another guy helping me, this beautiful guy from Kenya. I'm so lucky. I have beautiful people around me in this challenging time, and you could be one. Ouch. She's vegan too, by the way. I just learned some cool vegan tricks that I didn't know before that I'm excited to try for the next meal. So please help me get that meal. And the checklists are easy now. You come into the meetings and it's all right there for you. You can see it at a point. It's great. And it really is, I will eat if we get them. Ooh. We got 388 made from the birthday. We need 3,267 more, I think. But if we get 108 doing the blessings, it's 5,000. So overshoot. Oh. All right, I think that's it for now. There's even more to say. Yeah, if you want to help, I'll put a link in the chat, the form that we send out, where we get to know you through 10 questions, and then you can see our meeting times. And you'll see the meeting link, but then the real meeting is happening on our new platform. But I want to see sort of who signs up first, so I'll send that out to you and we'll see who joins, because people are starting to get a little more serious, and I appreciate that. They start to see that I'm teaching real lessons here, real wisdom, and trying to protect you in many ways that a lot of people don't realize. That took me tens of, not just thousands, tens of thousands of hours to learn and build that discernment. But now we can teach it. I'm not the only one that can do that. You can too, but you got to put the work in, okay? You got to discipline your mind a little bit and get in to this way of life. And the meetings help you, right? Rationally, I'm sharing the facts, right? Emotionally, I'm demonstrating the resolve and care. And then environmentally, to help change, the software makes it easy. Okay. I feel like there's one more thing I want to say. Oh, I just had a craving of peanut butter. No. Oh, that's another thing. In the beginning, when I was between 10 and 20 days, or 10 and 28 days, I could kind of tease myself about watching some videos and you know, get your body ready to eat. And, you know, it's okay. But now, Facebook's bombarding me with all these vegan food videos, and they're amazing. And I had to avoid it because I was scrolling through and I started thinking, and the stomach acids made me sick. I could barely sleep one night. Like the worst night I've had out of all hundreds of days of hunger was like 2 days ago. One of the worst. The actual worst was outside the courthouse when the police were arresting me. I never got any tickets, by the way. I don't have any criminal records. All the police, they arrested me 11 times outside of the courthouse illegally because I was it was my charter rights, it turns out. I was allowed to do that. So I think that's why I didn't get any tickets. But that was my dry hunger strikes where I wasn't drinking water, and I was like on day 9 or 10, no food, no water, in like minus 27. So it was extreme conditions, and they're breaking my heat bubble under my sleeping bag, and you know, it was, I could barely see some days. That was the worst. I almost died. I almost died there. But other than that, a couple of days ago when I was in my normal setting, it was one of the worst. So yes, I'm still being shadow banned, so if you can share this, that's great. We just got 78 people in one day looking at my things. I'm still getting thousands of views, so it's time to take action. Okay, all right. I think that's what I want to say. Stay blessed, all right? We'll see you tomorrow. I'll try and keep doing these videos. But as the days get more serious here, we have to focus on these meetings. I have to get 108 people very soon. I will go to the potential death here. I will, because we are already heading that way. We are heading towards the worst case scenario. Okay, you're sacred, remember that. Okay, find me with wifey. We'll help you find yours if you don't have one, or husband, or they, them, what. Everybody belongs in God's government, so peace. Okay, keep sublating.